Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be making some bunting for my little house. Now I thought I had finished, and in part 10 I was showing you it done, finished, packed away, move on to the next project, but then I had an idea, and I guess this area here felt a bit plain, and I really enjoyed creating some of the little things for this part of the village panel, and bunting was floating around in my mind, and I cannot rest until it's done. So that's today's plan. I've got a pack of fabric. Now it's not the fabric that I used for the whole panel, but I thought I'm going to have a look through it because it matches beautifully. It'll introduce something a little bit different, and maybe we can have a little play with it. So the panel is called Delightful, I believe, the pack. I went through it and there's no selvage anywhere, because they usually trim that off of these types of, they call them layer cakes. And there's definitely no selvage, but on the sticker is the word delightful. So, I don't know. If someone recognises it out there, whack it into the comments, just in case it catches someone's eye and they want to, you know, add it to their collection. But layer cakes are a fantastic way of getting bits for your stash. So anyone who's new, drop into a quilt shop, and if you want to pick up a colour palette, and then you add into it, you know, colours from vintage pieces you've collected, a layer cake might be a really good way of getting you started on, you know, putting together a range of colours. So these little buntings, I'm suspecting they need to be as big as this, to be honest. I've got some iron-on Visifix, because I thought what we might do is at least stop the fraying by using a little bit of this. It's a little bit old, so I hope it still works. So yeah, let's get started. I might move my panel out of the way. I need to turn my iron on actually. Let me just jump up and do that. Where's my power cord? Sorry guys. Really organised, aren't I? Okay. So, how do we do this? Do we just put some Visifix onto a piece? Do we draw ourselves an outline? Let's have a little play with the size of which our little bunting is going to be. Like, it's going to be small, very, very small. I guess the other thing too, do we make it double-sided? Or single-sided? Is that the right size for the building? I would say so. It's only tiny. And then I'm wondering, do we cut it out double-sided? Oops. Because we're going to have a string that holds the bunting onto the building. How do we attach it to the string? So I'm wondering if we cut out that, and then where's some embroidery cotton? There's my little houses. Oh gosh, I'm already in a mess and I haven't even started. First of all, is that the right size? So I just measured 1 centimetre. Yeah, that's the right size. And then if we get some pearl thread and maybe with the heat, and yeah, if that's got heat and bond on it, the heat and bond will be on the back of the little fabric, and then we heat and bond it onto there. that is going to secure it and make our little bunting. That'll work. Yep. Let's get cracking. So there's our template. What's pretty easy. It's a centimetre. Was it a centimetre? Yeah, a centimetre. So in inches, for you other ones that use inches, it's not quite half an inch. So around that proportion, I believe, is what we're looking for. Now, fabrics. Well, I think we need to be in the very small print. Does that give us many options? And I think we could do a couple colours. Is that it? Gosh, at a glance, I thought that pack of fabric offered more. Are there any others? So we've got 3. I guess that's enough, isn't it? That's the fabric I've been cutting into. Well, that's not called Delightful. I think the name of this is already in my description. I just can't remember now. Yeah, that's... but, yeah, okay. That's the fabric. We've been cutting flowers out for the panel. I didn't realise it was part of this pack. See, you buy these things, you pop them in your cupboard. You don't look at them for 12 months and you forget, don't you? And if there's no official name on the pack, it's forgotten. All right, let's have a look. I think we're going to do a combination of these 3. I think that'll look quite pretty. Now, I'm wondering, how do we only need... Where's my visor fix? Here it is. We only need a little bit. So let's have a look. I used to use so much of this stuff when I was doing applique onto quilts. So I might just chop myself off a piece. Right, so if I can't get enough bunting out of that, oh goodness me, is that a name on this? What's this called? Heat and Bond. Heat and Bond Light. I think another company calls it Visor Fix. I can't remember. I haven't bought this stuff for ages. I tend to just embroider everything onto everything instead of using the Heat and Bond. And if I do want a little bit of glue to, you know, stop things fraying, I use art glitter glue or a glue stick. Seems to be plenty, you know. So we've got to put this on the back. Sticky glue side will appear there once ironed. And then we should be able to peel that paper off. And then you've got sticky glue side again, which then allows you to attach it to whatever it is that you are stitching. So it's pretty handy. The only thing I'll say is when you're doing a big quilt and you've got a lot of little elements that are pieced onto your, I remember doing an angel quilt, and every block was an angel, and there was just layers and layers of colours and fabrics on these angel designs. They were flying with beautiful big skirts and little feet sticking out the end. It was so beautiful. I think it was a Lynette Anderson fabric from memory. It was just gorgeous. I've still got the panel. I haven't quilted it as such. I've just made and stitched the top of it, so it's all pieced together. And by the time I finished embroidering or blanket stitching around all of those little angels, oh my goodness, my hands were so sore that I sort of went off of it a little bit. So you've got to be a bit mindful that if you're pushing a needle through fabrics that has this, maybe one layer is okay, but let's say that this blue was a dress, and then there was a petticoat, and then a frill, and then an apron, and there's 3-4 layers of fabric that has this heat and bond on it. Oh my goodness, it does get to your hands after a while. And if you're doing a lot of stitching, you don't want to ruin the joints or ruin tendons and muscles in your hands. So please be careful. We want to be stitching until, I want to be stitching until I'm 130. So the girl needs to be careful. Been getting a few cramps in my hands lately, so I've got myself some magnesium tablets, and within 3 days I could feel a difference. I commented to, I think it was Susanna actually, that I felt like my hands were getting a bit stiff, which was never noticed it really before. And then I was getting up off the couch, and I pushed the little button with this finger on the couch to recline it back into shape. And I got a cramp in that finger, and I'm like, wow, what's going on? And it was, I've never had a cramp in my finger. I thought, oh, hello. My dad takes a lot of magnesium because he's, outdoor working on a farm. He's losing a lot of nutrients through just, sweat and working hard. So he's constantly chasing his tail to keep all of those vitamins and minerals in his system. Minerals is what it really is. So magnesium tablets have always been very much a part of his regime. And he knows when he should be back on them because he can feel the cramps coming in his legs or his hip. So anyway, back to me. I was walking out of the room with this finger going all funny, a little cramp through here, and I could feel in my calf muscle as if it was about to cramp. And I'm like, holy wow, it's like my whole body feels like it's about to. So the very next day, I got some magnesium tablets, and I was telling Susanna about it, and I said, how long will it take for these things to kick in? Because I feel like I'm just on the edge of cramping. So we weren't really sure, but I would say I'm on day, what am I on now? Day 4. By the 3rd day, yesterday, already I could feel that things were, fluid again. So it's very interesting. They're very important, aren't they, these minerals? Now, I'm wondering if I can just, what do I do with the template? Do I just draw around it? Probably could. Like so. Or measure it. I think I just measure it. I don't have to be exact, girl. So this shouldn't take too long. I don't know how many I need. I haven't got to that preciseness of it all. And then what sort of depth did I go on? My little 1 centimetre. About the same. Okay. Well then if I just, can I do it by eye? Oh, let's be precise. What fun is it if it's not going to be a little bit precise? As precise as it's going to get. If I do 3 of each, let's see what that does. And then I might top stitch them in sewing machine thread. That's what I'm thinking. Just to give it that little quilted look like I did on the quilts. That one's slightly different, but I think it's okay. Now if I fold them at that point, and then let's cut it. I'll put that in my stash. It's ready to go. It's backed. There we go. Itty bitty. Well, that's reasonably simple. Scrap bit, little flag, scrap, little flag. So I got 4 out of that one. And now the visor fix is coming off. So I should be able to fold that over and the glue's waiting for me and iron that together. So that's the plan. Where's the tray before I lose all these little... before I get lost in the scraps that becomes our desks at times. Okay, well that was simple. Let's... okay, start again. We're going to do our lines. Oh, goodness me. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm doing a few more. I can get 4 across. So that's, you know, not a bad thing. Find the middle, dot it. Middle, just doing that by eye. Like the bunting will be flapping in the breeze. So the citizens of the town won't realise that the maker of the bunting was a little bit on the bodgy side in working out the points of the bunting. It was a last minute thing, you know, they suddenly come to you as Chief Creative Officer of the town and say, Corrine, can you whack us up some bunting? Yeah, all right, in the middle of the night. Yeah, no worries, I'll work around the clock to get this to happen. That's what happens when you're the Chief Creative Officer for the little town. You're thinking, God, that girl, she's off on a tangent again. Her imagination is running wild. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. Bucket to catch. How easy is this? Once you get into a bit of a system, I'm going to be making bunting everywhere by the looks of it. All right. Once again, 4 across. One, 2, 3, 4. It's cool when you can make these random little projects for bigger projects. It's a lot of fun. You know what's been burning a hole again in the back of my head? I don't know if you joined my channel way back. You would have seen that I had this fascination for the mouse mansion. It's a, let me refresh my memory, Danish lady that built a mouse mansion out of cardboard boxes, and then inside those boxes she built everything that a mouse would have in a house. Little beds, little quilts for beds, chests of drawers. It's just adorable. Well, this mouse mansion over the years became huge. So they put it on a trolley that she could just wheel it around, and it's now got its very own museum, so to speak, in a town in Holland. I'm just not sure where. But anyway, if you Google into, and not Google, well, even Google, yeah, you'd probably find where it is if you're going to Holland and you want to check it out. But if you search YouTube mouse mansion, her daughter and I think a son have turned it into a whole thing. Like, I believe there's a TV show, a book, just adorable. So yeah, if you want to fall down a rabbit hole, check out that. And I would love to do a mouse mansion. I was chatting to Susanna about it and she was like, oh, you know, we could do that. We do a series on making miniature things for a mouse house. And the other thing it would bring into play is wool felt needle punch, not needle punch, you know, where they use the needle and they make felt animals. Oh my goodness, they are so gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And I made a mouse for a Christmas decoration for my Christmas tree last year. You'll probably recall the little ballerina mouse. And I loved it. I do need to get some protective wear for my fingers because I was punching and fingers with the needle. It was very dangerous. And yeah, so just Google it, guys. Go and have a look at it. It is just adorable. Like, we need another project. It'd certainly be a lifelong thing. And I was joking with Susanna that my husband's shed that he's building is pretty big because it's got a house, you know, car, and then a bit of a boys' room. And he collects pinball machines and he works on them and has sort of become a bit of a passion restoring and fiddling around with them. So he needs a bit of space. And I said to Susanna, I said, that shed's so bloomin' big, I'd love to move my studio in there, steal a bit of space. And then I said, imagine if we had a room just dedicated to a mouse mansion. We could open the door and the whole wall was full of a mouse house with lots of mouses and furniture. And so she was like cacking herself laughing, saying, well, you ask Gaz if we can have a room in there that we can build a mouse mansion in. I don't think he'd be wanting to give up some of his precious space. Where am I going to start my little thingy? Because I'm thinking I just do that. And then iron it. This should work, shouldn't it? Just fold it over, crease it, glue it down. Bingo. Bunting. Where's my village? Let's double check that everything is going to work. Bunting. Hello. Gorgeous. All right. This shouldn't be too hard. See, we'd need bunting in a mouse house, wouldn't we? Oh my goodness. I need to find someone who teaches in Australia the needle felting that they do to make a mouse. Like, my mouse wasn't bad. I found a little tutorial and it wasn't bad. But there might be things that I'm not doing that makes it efficient. You know what I mean? I felt like I probably, you know, you really need to understand technique sometimes. This is like watching paint dry for you guys. And iron. Done. Next colour. So the idea is rolling around in the back of my head. I said to Susanna, when I officially retire, and I've got all the time in the world, maybe that's when I build my mouse house mansion. But then I'll probably be too old and dottery. Eyesight will be poor, and I won't be able to manage making mouse house mansions. Come on, line up. It's a little bit fiddly, but This heat and bond is a blessing. Catches all my threads. Like that's going to work a treat. Okay, dark blue. I'm going to need more than 4 of each colour. I've just done the math in my head. I suspect that 4 of the 3 colours is not enough. But that's okay. I think we've got a bit of a recipe now of how to proceed. Now a pale one. Whoop. So there you go. Riveting viewing for you all, but I'm sure you're busy stitching and you're not even looking at the screen, paying attention anyway. So it's all good. We're just sitting and fiddling, aren't we? Okay. I think I've got a bit of a system now. How adorable, if I do say so myself. That one's a little bit crooked, but that's okay. I should be able to just trim it. Like I'm being finicky. What's the next colour? Pale. It's little fine motor skills being used here. That's when you know you've got to make sure your hands are in reasonably good health. And my heart aches for those out there that have rheumatoid arthritis or it's starting to develop. Gosh, I know a few ladies with it and tremendous pain they have. It's just insidious. Come on, world doctors. We've got to get on top of that one. Surely we can work out what sets it off and sort that for us. We crafters, we need our manual dexterity, don't we? I guess that's if that does develop for me and you just don't know. Is that the right colour? Yes, it is. I guess that's when I'll finally have time to read. I used to love reading books and I just don't get time. This would be my first thing to do something physical with my hands, but if I lost that ability, I would finally get to work, go and read. And I think that's a nice thing waiting for me one day. But yeah, I hope I don't develop it. Okay. Come on. There we go. Another one. I'm nearly through what I made. So what's the next one? Pale. I've only got 4 left. Well, that's surprising how far they didn't go. So what I think I will do is put like a knot in the end with a little, trim it back and then stitch it onto the house so it looks like it's tied to the house or the set of shops. There we go. Oh, how adorable. How adorable. Makes you want to do a mouse house, mouse mansion. There's, see, this is how silly it's got. I've been looking on Marketplace at second-hand dolls' houses that are for sale. And there's a couple that pop up occasionally. I'm starting to notice a bit of a pattern. And they're Victorian doll houses. And I'm like, oh, beautiful is that? And then I'm like, well, we could have mouses in a Victorian dollhouse. Like, this is where the girl wants a beautiful house to look at when it's packed away in the corner, you know what I mean? Instead of cardboard boxes that are sticky taped together in the corner of your room. At least you've got a beautiful dollhouse, and you open it up and in there is your mouse house. So I'm sort of thinking, if I did do it, and I'm not saying I will, it's just back in my mind and rolling around like it does, it'll probably pass. It's like exercise. If you lay down, when you start thinking about doing exercise, if you lay down and just allow, you know, an hour for the idea to pass, you know, you feel better and up you get, and you don't have to. That's my theory. So maybe the mouse house is something like that. I just need to lay down, let the idea pass. So the problem is I lay down with a phone or iPad. Excuse me. Goodness me. I lay down with a phone or iPad and I start falling down rabbit holes. And the mouse house rabbit hole would be one of them. So I've used every one of those little flags now. So we need to make more. Let's bring in the building and just see how far we got. Oh, how adorable, guys. Like, oh my goodness. Seriously. So if that is stitched there, and I'm thinking we scallop it up in the middle. Oh, look, it's enough. Oh, in my mind, that was not enough. So there you go. So it was four flags of 3 colours. So if you are wanting to do a bunting, that's the recipe. Find yourself 3 colours and make 4 little flags. Out of it. Now, if I knot this one off as well. Gosh, for in my mind, it was not enough. Probably because it, you know, I'm glancing at the 2 houses, so gosh, I'm lucky I didn't do more. I would have been yibby-yabbering away and not watching. So where's the middle? That's the middle. Maybe we put the middle stitch in first. Let's move that iron out of the way before I burn the side of my arm. Oh, goodness me. Just had a coffee and it catches in the back of my throat, the milk, because it's more milk than coffee, you know what I mean? It's not a black coffee is what I'm trying to say. And I make quite a big tumbler of it, like a tall, if you're having a cold drink of water, it's quite a tall glass. And I put a couple shots in it, and that's my coffee for the whole day, because I'm just too lazy to be going back and forwards to the kitchen to make coffee. So I find if I have a good coffee in the morning, that'll keep me going. So I'm going to stitch just a couple little stitches in the center there, just to catch it. If it feels like it's going to dangle too much and could potentially get damaged, I guess I'll put some more little stitches along it, but we'll see. All right, this needle is a crowbar. It's really hard to push through the layers. I'm really working too hard. I might just drop this needle and get a finer one. just a big chat about looking after our bodies and our hands. And here I am using a crowbar. That one's better. Fine and sharp. Less resistance on our bodies, the better when it comes to needlework, guys. So look for those finer needles that just slither through the layers. Now, got our little knot. I think our knot could be closer. Yeah, I need to move the knot right up to the little flag. So let's reposition. Let's reposition that little guy right up there. And then we'll trim that. There's our needle and thread. And then we will come in here. Let's get more of a scallop. Come in there, I think, and pop our little stitch in to hold the side of the bunting. I think I will need a stitch in the middle. I feel like that's flapping around a little bit, and if this was to get caught on something, it might damage it. So I say I'll come back through and just pop a little stitch just to hold it on. Why have it with a chance of damaging, hey? Okay. I promise this is the last thing on this village. No more bright ideas. It's funny because when I told Susanna I'd finished filming and yay, but then at the last few minutes I decided we needed bunting. She's like, oh, bunting, that's a good idea. And then she's looked at her piece and she's like, I thought I was finished. Good on you. And I said, look, just don't do it. Save it for when you do your video series, because we're filming ahead, of course. I know you guys know all that. Susanna was planning on doing something different for each section of the panel. So she's going to put the bunting on then. Okay, so now I should be able to just catch. Did I put a knot in that? Trying to get into the habit that once I cut that thread, I immediately knot it. But it's not in my brain yet. And stitch. Oh, the layers. See, that's what I mean. Get yourself thin needles to go through all those layers. For you newbies out there, if you can get your head around your needles, and there's heaps of brands out there, just try and get what you can, because I know some of the brands that everyone uses are very hard to get. They're never in stock. I'm finding that, because as soon as some YouTubers mention them, that's the end of them. And if the quilt shop is not quick enough to restock, or they're having trouble getting stock, they can be really hard to get. So sometimes you've got to use some inferior brands, which is very annoying. There's not a lot you can do about it if that's all you can get. So then have a look at the type of needle, and just make sure that you got the right needle for the right task and you're not hurting your hands is what I'm trying to say. What am I trying to do there? Go through a blooming knot. So there's a lot of layers of fabric there, and even that thin needle is really struggling. Okay, so let me just knock that off. Now let's have a look at the scallop of this bunting and see if we can do that next. Put a stitch on the, let it just naturally want to fall. Bit of gravity is what we need. And then pick our point of which we can sneak in. Oh, I've lost my thread. Just bear with me as I rethread. There we go. That just pulled out. Look at that. Okay, start again. I thought I was on the inside of that knot, but I obviously wasn't. There we go. Now I gotcha. Oh my goodness me. See, now I've got it. I've got my thread coming on the inside of that. See, it's so hard to push through there. That's why I thought I was in the right spot, but I wasn't. Oh, come on, seriously. I don't know, have I got the patience to be making miniature things for mouse houses? Probably not. Oh, like seriously, now the needle and thread's come undone. Oh guys, it's one of those days. What's Rachel say? The struggle is real. It is. It surely is. There we go. Oh, come on, seriously, pom-poms. I don't know if I've got the patience for a mouse mansion. There might be a bit too much sass in me. Frustration would build in and chuck it in the corner and stomp away because my big fingers can't get tiny laminate onto a bench. What is that dog eating out there? Bandit's chewing something bright orange. Guys, just hold 1 second. Bandit, what did you do? Bandit. Okay. I'm going to have to go, guys. He's found something bright orange he's chewing. It looks like a rubber toy that's maybe come over the fence from the neighbours. So I'm just going to pause the video and go and check it out. Back in a moment. Hi, guys. I'm back. That's what it was. I think the kids next door are one of their Nerf gun foam thingies has come over the fence and Bandit's got it. It's just like a very soft foam, so I don't think it's going to hurt him. But, oh my goodness, I just happened to glance out there and he's chomping on it. Oh, that dog, I tell you. So, sorry about that. Slight technical emergency. Good on you, Bandit. He's sitting now at the window looking innocent. Oh, I'd hate to think what that dog eats. And if you don't notice these toys that come over the fence from kids and you've got a big bozo puppy like him, oh, it worries me so. Train them to not eat foreign objects, they say. Yeah, right. It's all a game. As you, oh gosh, that lace is firm. I'm just trying to get a second stitch in there. while my needle is threaded and in the vicinity. I'm just going to pop another little stitch. Okay, let's secure that little guy. Band it. Done. Done. Okay. So I just need to put a couple little stitches on the other side of that bunting. The thread's getting a bit small. Let's not be stingy. It comes unthreaded too easy. You need a bit of length to your cotton. Okay. I think I'll end up putting a couple stitches here too, guys. I won't bore you with it, but I'd say I will, just to make sure nothing catches it, hey? I was going to actually top stitch the bunting. I didn't do that. I forgot about that idea. Do I need to? Well, I probably could still do it on the fabric while on the bunting. I was going to do some little stitches like I did on the quilt. It's being a bit finicky, isn't it? But now it's on the building, so that's going to be a bit of a challenge. Be doable. I stitched a top stitch on that quilt that's on that balcony over there because the idea popped into my pea brain after I had attached it to the house. Oh, why don't I top stitch it? That'd be a great idea. I think I'm going to secure, well, I am. Look, I'm going along that whole bunting, stitching it down. So when I pop up here, let's have a look at a top stitch idea or not. So if I come up through there, no, I'm not. I think with the visor fix in there, see, these didn't have visor fix, so it's real soft and easy to slide my needle through. That would be a real challenge, to get a needle up and down through all of those layers. So if you don't use visor fix, yeah, you could top stitch that easily. Your needle would slither through that beautifully. But if you do as I did with a visor fix sandwich in between, don't bother, guys. Like, see how that's wriggling there and that's not? So definitely stitching down just a little stitch on either side of the little flags, like so. Yeah, love it. So there you go. And I haven't had any more ideas, so this is it. This is it. Round. And snip. I still think that little chapel would make the most beautiful Christmas decoration for a Christmas tree. I so know that I'm going to be pulling out this panel again. Nothing like little houses. They're just super cute. Maybe once I stop stitching little houses here, I'll stop thinking about mouse mansions. See, it's all that cute little miniature village stuff. It's us girls playing with doll houses, isn't it? That's what's going on here. My dollhouse was a couple cardboard boxes and I loved it. I was forever making things. Oh gosh, there's a memory that I'd forgotten about. Oh my goodness. It had a green roof. You know when your kids are going to school and you'd cover their books in contact? They probably don't do it anymore, but it would sort of protect the book. We had a roll of green, bright green, frog green contact one year for my school books. So the roof of the house got covered in this bright green contact. Oh, seriously, the most hideous looking thing. But it was all that was available in the country town. There was a couple colours, but really the green was the only one that was worth having. So that's the one I got for that year. And so all my exercise books and school books were covered in it. And of course, when you're in a country town, every kid's got bright green contacts. So it's not like you can even notice your book at a glance, because if that's all the news agency had, that's what we all got. It's pretty funny. Just going to whiz up here. It gets tangled and everything, doesn't it? It's patience of a saint to do this type of stitching. Each itty bitty stitch. There we go. At least it's secure now. I'm happy. And that visor fix or heat and bond. Heat and bond is going to hold that perfectly in position. Done and done. Last stitch, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this journey. Thank you for your great comments. Like, you lot are just the best, I tell you. You just keep me going. Times I think, oh my goodness, what else could I be doing with my time? And then I'm like, nah, the girl's got to stitch. And if I'm stitching anyway, I might as well just turn the camera on and you guys can sit and stitch with me. Okay. Beaut. Done. Done, done, done. Bunting on a little house. How adorable. Okay, that's it. Tools down, no more. Stop mucking around. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me, and hope you have a lovely day. And if you're not part of our Facebook group that Susanna and I, and with the help of Tia, have set up, Stitched Vintage Treasures, please come on over. The link is below. Just don't forget to answer the questions, because I don't know, the one day we hadn't looked at it for a day or so, and there were 400 people wanting to join, and we're like, oh my goodness. And it took a while to go through them, because if you don't answer the questions, we can't accept you, because it could be a robot trying to get in and put advertising in our group or do nasty things. So we're taking our time through all of the, can I join your Facebook group requests? And if there's no, the two questions is, where are you from and what is your favourite stitch? Please write something there, because we're automatically just declining, because we just can't tell who you are. And so many look legit. Like, I see Australia is where they're coming from, and then they haven't answered the questions. Like, I recognise a university or something, and I'm thinking, well, is it just someone scamming and they've copied someone's profile? You just don't know. So please, please, please answer the two little questions. That tells me that you're legit, and we can immediately approve it and let you in. And yeah, we're not going to get harassed by some scammer who's hiding in amongst us, and we don't want that. So yeah, please answer the questions so we can easily approve. Okay, all right, that's it. Have a lovely day, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.